What's up everybody, how's it going? Today we're going to be trying to Retrobrite an NES. I don't have one of the crazy inside setups for this, but I was reading that you can do this out in the sunlight as long as you just have a clear container and peroxide, so we're going to check it out today. And as you can see, this NES is pretty yellowed. So first you're going to want to disassemble the affected area, which in this case is the top of the console, from the rest of it, because obviously the electronic components can't go in the peroxide. There are just 6 Phillips screws on the bottom of this, and after you take those out, you should just be able to lift the top off. And once we get the stuck screw out, we can go ahead and move the bottom of the console off to the side. Now, as you can see, the inside of the top is the color that the plastic on the outside is supposed to be, and this is extremely yellow and is definitely in need of some Retrobrite. You can even see if you lift the lid here how much of a difference there is. So next, in order to get this ready, we're going to want to take out these screws on the bottom of this so we can unhinge the lid and take the black plastic off of this as well. And now that we have all the screws taken out, we should be able to just push on the bottom of the black plastic and it'll come off. And as you can see, you also need to be careful with the lid because I completely knocked it out without even meaning to. But just to prove how badly this needs this again, look at the plastic from under the black piece compared to the rest of it and see how yellowed it really is. The next thing we need to do to prep this for retrobriting is to clean the outside extremely well with some 50% isopropyl alcohol. The reason I suggest doing this is so you make sure everything is nice and clean, there's no dust or dirt left on the console, because if you leave any of it on there when you go to retrobrite it, you might end up with some weird spots where it didn't get rid of the yellowing, or it might even leave some streaking, and you just want to avoid that so that way it all looks nice and even. And as you guys have been able to see this whole time, I've been getting quite a lot of dirt off of this thing just by using some isopropyl alcohol. So I really think that'll help our product turn out better in the end. Next, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to this lid here, but you want to be pretty careful when you're doing this. I wouldn't go over the red logo a whole lot, because if you swipe on it a bunch, then it'll start coming off. So now we're ready to do this thing, and as you guys can see, it's pretty cloudy out today, so I don't really know how this is going to work, but you want to go ahead and get everything in the container, and from there we're going to want to make sure everything is submerged within the peroxide. So in order to do this, I just went to Walmart and bought what I believe is 3% hydrogen peroxide. It's pretty cheap. These were only $1 per bottle, so it's really not that expensive to do. I've seen people suggest you go with a higher percentage, but the way I understand it is the higher percentage of peroxide you go with, the harder it is to get your hands on. So I figured I'd make this easy for everyone and just recommend that you go to Walmart and get whatever they've got. It's cheap and it's easy to get your hands on. I ended up needing to use 6 bottles of this peroxide in order to make sure everything was completely submerged. But again, they're only $1 a piece, so that only ended up being $6 in the end. And now that we have poured all of the peroxide in, I'm going to just make sure everything is completely submerged, and I'm going to go ahead and put this on a time lapse so that way we can see how much it changes over time. So at this point, this had been outside for probably about 4 hours, and I came back out to not only change the camera angle, but also check on it and see how it was doing. And now at this point, it's been closer to 6 or 7 hours, and that's going to be it for that day. Now this is about a week later. I came out the next opportunity I got. I had to get more peroxide, obviously, but this day it was much more sunny, and I had much better luck this day. So I got it filled back up with peroxide and set it back out. And I think this day it was out for almost 8 hours, because I wanted to make sure this was the last time I had to stick it outside and make sure everything got as unyellowed as possible. And now after all that, you guys can finally see the finished product, and this is much nicer than it was before. It's definitely not perfect. You can still see some yellowing, and obviously I didn't do the buttons at the bottom, so they still look yellow. But here's the before, and here's the after, and it's a ton lighter than it was, and it really looks a lot better. So I'm really impressed with how this turned out, and I think if I were to give it one more sunny day, it would probably look even better, but I'm just impressed with how well it did in just that short amount of time. You can see that there's one streak on the top of this, and I'm not even really sure how that happened, but still, I think it looks a ton better than it did before. And for the first time of me ever doing this, I think it turned out great. But anyways, let me know what you guys think of this, and let me know if you're going to be trying this for yourself. I think it's a perfectly viable solution to help your old consoles look better, and I might be trying this again in the future if I find anything else that needs it. So thank you guys for watching. If you could please leave a like, and I'll see you in the next one.